Okay, let's start it. The first part, I'm gonna do a really brief the introduction for the whole workshop. And the first part gonna be you share your PowerPoint, and the second part we have the Q&A part. Is okay for you, Georgia? Yeah, perfect. So let's start it. Hello everyone, welcome to today's workshop finding the grudge, layered and launching a game whilst connecting the real-world communities. I'm your host Queen, excited to have you here. Tonight, Giorgio will reveal how the grudge layers pivoted from crypto research to a game studio and their journey of launching hits like global arena. Let's give a warm welcome to our guest, Giorgio, aka Gorge, the CEO, co-founder of Gorge Layers. And then Giorgio holds a game design degree and co-founded a crypto hedge fund before building Grudge Layers. His studio created raising revenue and the viral global arena on Starknet. Today he will cover the transformation journey of the Grudge Layers development process of raising revenue and global arena. And third, the global arena launch strategy. And the final part, the practical advice of gaming industry and entrepreneurs. So thank you, Gorgia. Let's to start your PowerPoint and share your point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I can start, right?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you first of all for inviting me, and I'll share some insights of how I got into finding like the Grug's layer, and obviously like giving birth to the gaming studio that is today. So obviously like the road has been long. It's not been like pretty straightforward. So I'm just like gonna give you some insights of what happened in between. So that's why I titled the presentation From Caveman to CEO, The Birth of Greg Slave. So I'm gonna start. So this park. So first of all, like I didn't plan to become a founder. I had an opportunity, an exposure, and started by chance. So back in 2020, I wasn't like planning on like creating the Greg's layer, but I was only trading with my crypto hedge fund, and I was actually a good trader. So Binance, Binance, the exchange was actually like sponsoring me and saying like, oh, Grug is making like this much money this week, and like follow this like trading because he's doing amazing, and so on. So then shortly after, I think like Binance organized a trading tournament, and they asked me to join and make my team. And then this is like how the community kind of started. So I had this like people that were following my trades, and I created like a Telegram group. And then all of a sudden I had like a bunch of people that were interested in trading, like following me, and then pushed me to create a community. So also around 2020, there was the period where like metaverse and gaming was going pretty crazy. You know, like there was Axie, there was like Decentraland, there was Sandbox. So yeah, metaverse and gaming were like one of the main topics. And I was like, and I've been always interested in these topics because of like my background, as you said. But there was a problem that like Web3 space like felt chaotic, but also full of possibility. So what I mean by that, there was like a lot of excitement, but also not much was built on. And the thing is like when you trade, like usually like excitement means usually like that you can make profit on it. Anyway, I was like studying and researching a lot of like crypto project, and actually what I was like finding is that they were not consistent or anywhere. Like they had like really big plans to make things happen, but as of today, not really many like gaming projects have really had a huge success in crypto. So hence why then I decided to turn the Grug Slayer from like a trading group into a gaming guild and decide to like create something. And then like I started with a community first mindset. So I turned the Telegram group into a Discord group, and then put those people together. And I was like usually sharing my research and sharing like a finding with others. And then sometimes like we were trading together, but basically like what I was doing with people is like I was actually like building together with them. So there was no secret. I was like doing everything in public and so on. So one of the lessons that I learned is that you don't need like a perfect plan originally. You just like have a strong desire and a willingness to build in public, and people will follow. So moving on. So talking about my background, I'm a big believer that games have a soul, okay, and games are like entertainment. So when you watch a movie, if the movie like isn't sharing like emotions or it doesn't make you feel emotive, then it's probably gonna be boring, and then you'll probably like nowadays you'll just like not paying attention. You will be like on your phone, just like scrolling Instagram and just like getting distracted or just like fall asleep. So during my experience at university, where I studied games technology, I actually I wasn't the best coder. I was interested in gaming, but like I wasn't the best coder. I was actually like interested in why some games were attracting or making like people more gamers like more addicted than others, right? So why titles like Candy Crush, people were addicted to it, or like Flappy Birds, like these things. And I was actually like really curious about what happened between our brain, the gamer's brain, and the games. So instead of like focusing my academic experience onto gaming, which I still like, I know how to code, even though I don't do it anymore. That's left to the rest of my team. I was like focusing my time of learning game design and how to build these like loops that we're keeping like people attached to the games. So there are like a lot of like emotional responses that our human brains has when we play the game. For example, like me personally, I like to play games with like a lot of chance, where like I don't know what's gonna happen next, or maybe like games, for example, like Dark Souls game that are like this difficult because like I like to master them and be really feel have the satisfaction when you fight a boss. I mean, like you can see the Elden Ring collecting stuff up here in my background. I'm a big fan of Elden Ring, so it's something that like for me when there is something hard in front of me, I need to learn. And when I, for example, like learn how to do it and I win, then I feel really really happy. And there are like lots of things that can be applied to everything. Like there is a lot of theory that can be applied to a lot of like part of the games. For example, like risk reward mechanism, feedback loops, player motivation, player response, like attachment, and so on. And this is what I really wanted to focus on back in the days. And this is obviously like what brought me today to actually make games. So what something that I've learned is that the great games are built on empathy. You're not designing feature, you're designing feelings. And this is like something that a lot of people forget, especially like in Web3. A lot of people they just build things just to raise money, but they don't build connection with the players, and that this is why they often don't really connect. So now I'm gonna say like why I ended up choosing Starknet. So during my period as a research analyst in my crypto hedge fund, I was actually focused on two main topic of research, and that was like gaming and scaling. So obviously like after like learning about like a lot of like different layer tools and a lot of different possibilities, I learned about Starknet, and I saw that there was like a lot of like different features than classic EVMs, were giving out. I think like Starknet was just like lot more power, lots more like possibilities, and I thought, okay, this is actually like a good place where we can build the logic of the games on chain. So I then like back in I think back in 2020, end of 2021, when Starknet launched their testnet, I was one of the OG users, and also like the community of Realms of World, which I was part of, decided to explore this, and I was like one of the people that kind of like pushed the move from Ethereum to Starknet, just because like the possibilities were like a lot higher. So and then like something that I thought that it was really powerful is actually like not having the traditional experience of having like a game like Web 2.5 game or old Web 3 where you just like build a game and then you attach NFTs onto it. So like there is pretty much like not that much blockchain into games. Basically, the game is built normally and just like connect some APIs. But what I was really curious and excited to do is to pioneer this new technology of on-chain gaming, where you could um, basically build the entire logic of a game into the blockchain itself. So you know, just the idea of having everything that will last forever and everything public and everything written in code, it's pretty cool. So I decided to do this, and as a thank for like basically like working my team onto Starknet from Ethereum, I got support from as part of like the early Starknet builders, and quickly became like a big part of like a big representative of the ecosystem. So something that like I've learned from this is like you shouldn't just use the tech because of like what it is, but you should embrace the culture of the network that we are building on. And this is like what myself and also like other groups from Realms of World did when migrating onto Starknet. So now I'm gonna tell like a bit of history of the Grug's Lair and how we got to where we are right now. So as I said, like Grug's Lair started like as a one-man show. Binance like was telling me like Grug, to this you know, we're gonna like share your wins, and you can do trading. And then like slowly people like started sticking to the group, and then slowly some people helped me creating the original group, which I mean, like I still got one co-founder currently that is still is the co-founder of the gaming studio today, and also like my product manager has been sticking then. And then like we slowly grew. We went from like a trading group to a gaming guild. The gaming guild wasn't like really that success, because I think we were like a bit too early in what we were doing, and I think like apart from Axie Infinity, there was like not much to be played back then. And so then we actually realized that we had a lot of connection and people that they wanted to build something together, and also in-house skills. So my brother, that is also like my CTO, is a very good developer and he does games technology like me. So we decided to then merge our efforts with the original group that founded Game Guild. And then now we're a full studio with artists, devs, and writers, and you know, like we're just like growing a player base. So yes, as I said, like first experiments. So moving like from a trading group, we were like doing trading signals. Then we were like we tried to do like a small meme coin on Starknet, just like to explore a few things, and then joining like game jams to like make tiny prototypes. But then, you know, all these like things, they kind of like help you to learn. You make mistake, you learn something good. And then also like something cool about this, that I think like every learning, every error in the past is a lesson learned. So as long as you do all in public, and you know, you just like learn from it, you go like a long way to go. So now now that the gaming studio is kind of fully started. Now we've been working for like almost 2 years. Now we got like 2 projects. So Rising Revenant was our first ever project that was born from Tino's house game jam with Rams of Word, which is which was our first game, and is a strategic lore-driven game with on-chain logic, fully on-chain, fully hyper-financialized, where you play with lords, you win lords, and you basically like survive. It's basically like a battle royale where you just have to survive to win. So Rising Revenant was our first game ever, and we tried to ship Rising Revenant many times, and we always failed for one reason or the other. There was always like an issue. And then we're still working on it. I think we're actually like stealth launching it in the next few weeks. So if you guys will be interested, or just keep an eye on the Grug Lair Twitters, we will share an announcement about it. But we never stop developing. But whenever we try to launch, there were always issues. So we never had people playing or releasing in the future. But all these mistakes that we learned from Rising Revenant then were precious for the launch of Blob Arena. Blob Arena, then we dedicated a lot more time with Blob Arena, because I'm gonna explain later we managed to strike a licensing agreement with a big organization. And then we created Blob Arena, which was again from another game jam. It was a very simple designed to be a very simple game. It was originally like a rock paper scissors, where blobbers, which are an NFT on the realms of the world, they were just fighting against each other, and in a 2D sort of Tekken thing. So they were just very simple. And it's an arcade battle with NFTs, tournaments, and a full modular design. So, but then a lot of errors that we did with Rising Revenant, especially with the launches, then they gave us a lot of lessons learned for Blob Arena, which is why we succeeded on launching Blob Arena. So an advice that I tell to everyone is that your first product isn't your company. Especially with gaming studios. With gaming studios, you can do a lot of stuff. You can be creative. Obviously, it depends on the scale and the size of your game. But if you're building something small, then you can you can just improve from it and so on. But building projects always teach you something new every time. So now moving on. So something that I know because I'm a gamer, and probably a lot of gamer knows, the world of gaming is very big, and there is a lot of competition. So in order to stand out and to have a player base, you need to sort of make sure that your game is trusted, okay? Especially because in Web3 and gaming especially, the past, there have been a lot of scams, it's not very clear what there have not been many titles that have succeeded, simply because the token goes to zero, and people at some point they just disappear and they stop developing. And obviously this is pretty bad for the people that they want to play. So in my mind, the solution for this was to have the opportunity to partner with a trusted community or a trusted organization, which is Armored MMA, which are as you can see in the background, they are fighters fighting in a cage, MMA, but they're dressed as a medieval knight, so in full armor and so on. So we had this beautiful chance that we tried to take, and obviously it was an opportunity to merge combat sport with on-chain gameplay. This is the first time ever something like this happened, and we had the opportunity to launch a live event, to actually launch our games in front of everyone at a live event in front of thousands of people. This has never happened in crypto, and we're really proud to do something like this. So we these happened very randomly, because as I said, we were building Blob Arena, but then someone the founder of Armored MMA came over and said, oh, can anyone do a game for us. And we put together like a game together. Like it wasn't the best, but we only had 2 months. But then like he appreciated the effort. And then 6 months later, we obviously had more time to improve the game, add more characters, make it like more personal. And then like we launched on the 7th of July, 7th of June this month, and it was a success. We had like a lot of people playing in the arena, and so this is like a picture from the event. Like people were playing. It was great. And then like something that like I learned here is that when you build a product, always like build it with scalability in mind, because if you build a product and then you go like this opportunity, then you need to be able to scale it quickly in order to grow your business and so on. So we were like effectively in that arena, we were like bridging Web2 audiences and physical fun with our digital ecosystem. And like people didn't even know that they were playing like an on-chain game. They were playing an on-chain game. It was like the first time ever like something like this happened. So powerful partnership aligned with your game soul. So choose one that unlocks new world and not just headlines. So it's not about marketing. It's actually about breaking into actual players. So this is our team, okay, and it's important to understand what's going on in the backbone of the Grug's Lair. So it's 9 of us, myself, my brother, my co-founder. This is also like Sin, which is the product manager from the very early stages, and these are all the guys that have joined us later. So finding the right people to work with is really important, especially like if you want to create a business and you want to do this like every day for like the rest of your future. You need to find people that you trust and build a team with people that you trust and also that are committed to what you build. It's super important. And especially in gaming, like you also want people that they enjoy gaming. Like I especially like I design games, and if I don't play games, I would lose my ability or like my skills to create like nice design or like have new ideas. Basically like if you write a book and you don't read book, it doesn't really make sense. Or if you make movies and you're a director, or like you work with cinema and you don't watch any movies, like where do you get your ideas from? So this is very important, especially like based on the business that you have, obviously, but also like something that we important. That this is like something that it kind of like builds with the time, is that communication is everything. For example, like me and my team, we have like 2 weekly meetings, just like half an hour. So like all the team can just like talk 5 minutes, what we've done, what we're gonna do, and so on. And obviously like product management is really important. So you give like clear task ownership and make sure like you don't spend a lot of time in meetings. Like we usually have like one long meeting every like big milestone. For example, like now at the moment we're going through the entire like plan of the game and the future features that we're gonna release, but this is like just because the big launch is happening. And also something that is important is that you need to know your audience and who you're talking to, because like Web3 and Web2 marketing, they are different. So based on the audience, like what your product is for, you need just like to know who you're talking about. And also game dev especially is intense, because like making games is very, very stressful, and there is like a lot of like different things that can go wrong. So make sure that the team's creative energy is protected and don't stress them. Like for example, like if they work a bit longer, or if you ask them to work an extra day, I usually like tell them like we got this the deadline, please work an extra day here, like don't take the like work during the weekends, but then you can take 2 days whenever you want, like the week after. So like you kind of make sure everyone is always fine, not super stressed. So something that I say is build a rhythm, release weekly or bi-weekly, depending on the thing. Like release small. Momentum is better like than perfection. So for example, like we have like a devlog with Blobarina. If you follow Blobarina, basically like every 2 weeks. Before it was every week. Now it's 2 weeks because of release, because obviously we go through testing, release, and but like sometimes things can be wrong, but we're like quick and efficient to fix things up. So also, speaking about like funding and sustainability, so we had the opportunity to start with grants, and based on like what we built, and grants are everything, especially at the beginning. And we had the pleasure to be supported by Starknet, and we got like a seed grant and growth grant, and they still do this, and also like communities like grants.org. So also something that is important is like to build revenues into your games. And in my opinion, also not just give the opportunity to people to pay with crypto, but also with credit card and like any payment methods that you want. Generally, like rule of thumb is that you don't want to limit people in the way how you pay. You want to let the people pay and pay how they want, right? Because sometimes like crypto might be down and people like don't want to like kind of like let some or pay with something that is 98% down, and they might pay with cash. So like the general rule of thumb is to let people pay with however they want. So the more options, the better. And also like it's important to build a product that fits with your audience, and then after that, if that goes well, people will notice, and then obviously like you will go to a seed round. So obviously like there is a path of building things. So you start with a pre-seed, and then you go for a seed round, and so on. Obviously, it depends on the scale of what you're building. So hard lessons here. I like the path like building this wasn't like easy, but like we sometimes we did mistakes. We tried to do like too many things at once, and it didn't go well. And also like because of like what we're doing is there is a lot of pioneering behind. We took too long to ship the first real product. As I said, Rising Revenant, we spent a lot of energies, and we never like managed to ship it because like we didn't have the knowledge that we have today. But like timing is everything in startups, and especially when you're building new tech. So when I suggest people to, for example, like if you're building games, like now the infrastructure are ready and you can start building now. It's much easier than it was like 2 years ago when we started. And also like on my end, sometimes I'm a very like nice person, and like I struggle to say no sometimes, but sometimes like saying no is as important as say yes. So saying no to partner, to features of distraction is important as well. But sometimes it pays off, and but like something that I've learned is that focus is one very precious resource. So builder's playbook here, like what worked with us: ship fast, stay weird, and be human. Sometimes, like for example, like something that worked with like Armored MMA, the game wasn't ready, but we shipped it anyway. The prototype, we only had 2 months, so what can you expect from building something in 2 months? We shipped it anyway. It wasn't working. It was crap. Was barely working, but the founder like appreciated it anyway, and that's why he said like, "Oh, what if I give these guys like 6 more months?" And now it's paying off. The most important thing is also like especially if you're a new business, keep your core small and fast, and then whatever like is slow, just like outsource it. There is like a lot of like cheap like contractors that you can get like all around the world. It doesn't have to be like your product doesn't have to be like super well polished at the very beginning, especially because of like money are strict. So make sure you can outsource like some of the stuff. And then like create rituals, like for example, what we do: connect with communities, dev update, load drop memes, make videos. Now with AI, you can do a lot of this stuff like with very cheap resources. So that builds audience, the habits. So I'm like, oh, it's Tuesday. Let's see what Blob Arena guys have released today, and like they go and check the new updates that we do. And then like something something that like I can say from my point of view, I've seen a lot of people that you're the founder of this project, so you're like they kind of like feel like the diva of the situation. I always say to people like stay human. People like also follow like the leadership and the character that you are, not just your game. So I always like to go on the Discord, talk with people. What do you think is wrong about their games? Like, I collect feedback. I got like a book here where like I write everything down, like all the feedback that like people give me, and then I discuss with the rest of the team, because like it's when you listen the feedback from your community, then the people, your audience, the people that play the game, they feel listened to, and they feel like, oh, I'm part of this. So they remember. And then like being a so something that I say is like being a CEO or a founder or having like owning a project doesn't mean that you're above everyone else. My suggestion is like to stay humble at all times. So what's next for us, for the Grug Lair? Now that like we got a well-defined product, we are growing, so we focused on this version. Now we're growing bigger, so we want to focus like on mobile, esports, and tools, and games that define the generation of on-chain gaming. So we are going to be the first. We're on track to be like the first studio to release games on App Store and Play Store. People will be able to play, and also like we're the first one to basically blend mobile gaming, combat sports, and esports. Also, basically like pretty much all we do is open source. So you search like on GitHub like Grug Lair, basically everything that we do is open source. We do like the smart contracts, the tools that we build is we share it with the community, especially Dojo. And then like our suggestion is start small, validate your ideas, and then when they're validated, like grow big. Don't be scared of taking risks, because like sometimes they pay off, and this is like a world where risks, people who takes risks, sometimes they're rewarded. So something that we do in the Lair is that we want to make games that define the on-chain generation, and especially they're accessible to everyone. We just don't want to make games for the people from Starknet or people from the on-chain game. We want to make like games that are available to everyone. So this is the end of the presentation. I think like I just like did 30 minutes of talks. Obviously, like if you guys have any questions, like feel free to ask. But also like if you guys like want to play in Treble Arena, just like scan with the QR code. Scan with your phone the QR code. And you can get, if a new welcome code for like new players, you can get 20 free arcade tokens to play our games. Like it's very like a low barrier, so you just like create the account straight away on your phone, and yeah, obviously like feel free to also to join the Discord and give us some feedback on the game. But yeah, anyway, like if you wanna give ask any questions, like feel free.
Okay, thanks for your sharing and your point of view over here. And now do we collect some of the questions before the workshop? So let's move to the Q&A part. Yes, let's start the first question. What makes Starknet special of game development compared to other blockchains? What are the core reasons with a Grug Lair to choose Starknet?
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I chose Starknet is because the Cairo is a much better language to build games than Solidity. Simply because like Solidity is focused on security and very simple like tasks that can be performed on chain. Whereas like Starknet, again, like I'm not a very technical person, but I can tell you straight away that Cairo, it's especially like if you want to build complex systems and logic, like for example in games, then you just cannot do that like on Solidity, because it's like not gas efficient at all. Maybe like if I want to do if you want to like cast an attack on Blobarina, if it was built on Solidity, then it would cost like $1 in fees in gas. Why would anyone pay $1 just like to cast an attack? And obviously like we need to understand that gas fees is another dimension of like building products on chain because they can be detrimental for the product that you build. Instead of Starknet, when you cast an attack, it costs like 0.001 dollars. And also like Starknet, we also have the possibility to have account abstraction and the propulsion program. So people don't even need to sign transactions anymore. So you just build you just play the game like if you were building, if you're playing like normally on your mobile. And this is what we like about Starknet. And also there is no need to have gas because the gas is subsidized by the Starknet Foundation. So yeah, these were the main reason why we chose Starknet over the rest.
Okay, that's super insightful answers. And let's move to the next topic. Now, nowadays, a lot of people really interested in the community. The community always build up the project. So how do you connect online game with a real world community effectively?
Sorry, can you repeat again?
Oh, yeah. How do you connect online games with real world communities effectively?
Yeah, so how to connect the communities and gaming? I think as I said, for example, why do we have these big games like Fortnite or Roblox connecting with, or always having players, like Fortnite always drops the new skins, for example, you got the skins from the Marvel universe or from anime, from I think it was from Attack on Titan or Jujutsu Kaisen, and you get a lot of mix of you go the rappers or the musicians, you go so people are attracted to this, and they get back into the game because they are being called, right? I'm a fan of this, so I get back. So then this is basically the same thing that we did with the Armored MMA community. We made a game where the Armored MMA fan base had they could play with the characters that they like. They never had this chance to do this before. So this is an example, but obviously this kind of depends on your game mainly, and how well you can connect the game and the community.
Yeah, thanks for your sharing. And the Blob Arena is a really creative part over here. So, what inspired the creation of Blob Arena, and any fun story during the development?
Yeah, so what inspired me, so as I said, it was created during a game jam. Someone in the realms.world ecosystem created the NFT Blobert, and it was open source, no license attached. So it was something that people in the ecosystem could build on. Also, in realms.world, we build a lot of stuff open source. So something that I was thinking, why we shouldn't build a game on with the Blobbert NFTs, because no one is doing that. Some they release the Blobbert, but no one is actually using the actual NFTs for everything. So that's why Blobberina kind of started, and then we realized that we can put the armor on them. We can just customize the Blobberts, and we can make them they can be versatile, and they can look like a lot of other things. So yeah, we started from the game jam, and then we kind of went through with it.
Yeah, love the perspective and really give us something to think about. So, how can regular user participate in Blob Arena ecosystem development?
To participate in the Blobberina ecosystem development. So at the moment, so as I said, if you want to contribute to the development, I'd say the best part, like the best way at the moment is to give us feedback on our Discord, because like at the moment is at the moment we're focusing on shipping the product, and because we just did, but now we're actually like about to release a board where like people can keep track of like a few next features, and also like they can request the next features that we want. I think like in the next few months we will issue basically like, we can make this roadmap public so people can request features and we will implement them. As I said, like the backend is completely open source, so I think like to get involved, maybe like get in touch with them. Also, we will probably like at some point when we are more stable as a project, we will maybe like have a game jam and have like people like trying to build mods on Blob Arena. But yeah, at the moment, like please just like go on our Discord, play the game, give us feedback, and that's it.
Yeah, really clear for the explanation over here. That definitely clear things up, and issue some project always encounter some problems. So, what unique challenge did you face while developing blockchain game, and which features of Starknet help you overcome them?
So you meant like problems and what features helped me building on Starknet, right?
Yes. No,
Mm,
it's not just built on Starknet. It's based on what kind of problem you face, and Starknet can help you to
yeah.
dissolve them.
Yeah. I think like definitely the fact that on classic like on-chain gaming you always have to like sign transactions, and like that's obviously like when you play the game, the last thing that you want to do is sign the transactions all the time, and that's just like kill the joy of playing the games. But yeah, I think like something that Starknet is great for is the fact that there is this account abstraction which allows you to like not sign anything, and even the fact that we have the propulsion program, like the paymaster, like people don't have to have gas to play the game, because like let's keep in mind that the game is still a blockchain game, so whenever like you do something you need to pay gas, but because like the gas on Starknet, like it costs so little, then you literally like you can basically onboard a lot of players and let them like play for like very 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 cheap. So I think like that's definitely one of the main features of Starknet that I really like, and it's not available anywhere else.
Okay, I think this part is really helpful, and take some note over here. Some developer maybe encounter the same problem over here. So next to the final question, what's exciting thing can we expect for the Grug Lair next? The next step over here, yeah.
Next step of the Grug's layer. Yes, I
Yeah.
think so. We're going. On Wednesday we're adding like to cans. And then yeah, we're going to Cannes. We're gonna join the startup house. We're also gonna speak and present Blob Arena, like some of the side events. So that's exciting, and also as another event to connect with communities, especially the Armored MMA communities. We're flying to Hungary in Visegrad to join the World International Tournament for combat sport, armored combat sport. So we're going there with like people just like to connect with like some of the fighters that are in the game and like market them, and and as I said, I think soon we will start to launch Rising Revenant, so keep an eye on our comms, and that's it.
Well, so you mean the Hungary gonna join the game, the international
Yeah. There is going to be like 10,000 people in Hungary that are attending this event. It's the biggest medieval festival in the world. So we're going to be there. We're going to have like a booth presenting Blobarina, telling like people to play Blobarina and explaining what Blobarina is all about. So as I said, we mix like with real communities, you know, fan of like medieval history, medieval combat, and yeah.
Yeah. So maybe in the future, the game gonna have the Hungary language, right?
Yeah, it could be. Like I think also like we're gonna explore like other languages in the future as soon as we. So the game is still in early access, but like for sure, new languages will be considered in the future.
Yeah, I think this part gonna really useful for the users.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
to the let's go to the final part. Let me share my screen over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, poster. Which one? Yeah, here. Yeah, the poster over here. And thank you, Georgia, for the
Thank you very
insightful
much.
answer. For more discussion, feel free to connect with Georgia on Twitter. Gord likes rocks. Yeah, we're gonna post
Yeah.
it later on our Twitter. And massive thanks to Georgia. And the key takeaways over here from crypto to game studio, a founder journey, and why Starknet for games and founder survey tips. And the reply drop tomorrow. Want to build on Starknet? Follow Gorge likes rocks
Yeah.
or Gorge like or Gorge layers and join Starknet Bootcamp season 3 and that's roll up. See you next time. And for the reply, we're gonna show up on the YouTube and the Bilibili over here. So really thanks for you today. Thank your team, Georgia.
Thank
Georgia.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. And it was a pleasure to talk with you guys.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Follow up.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.